This is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. I am the celebrity medium. We got a lot to tell you about this week, so let's get right to it. Last week on the report, I told you that comedian David Brenner, the record holder for most appearances on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, was miffed, to say the least, that Carson wasn't present when Brenner arrived in the next world. Now we have more information about Johnny's absence, and David doesn't have to ask, "Where's Johnny?" anymore. According to my Afterlife paparazzi sources, moments after Brenner noticed Carson was a no-show, longtime Tonight Show sidekick Ed McMahon suggested that the two have a drink together. When they arrived at their destination, the funny man was shocked to see that Johnny was waiting to greet him on a replica of the old Tonight Show set that he had specially constructed just for the occasion. I'm told that Carson hugged Brenner warmly, welcomed him to the next world. The two spent the next several hours on the set reminiscing and renewing their friendship. In his time on the earthly plane, Clark Gable was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Probably best known for playing Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, Gable was something of an unlikely sex symbol, what with his large ears and unconventional looks. According to my sources, Mr. Gable is still charming ladies in the afterlife. He's currently keeping company with a woman named Loretta Haight. I don't rack your brain trying to remember where you've heard of her. You haven't. She was never famous on the earthly plane. She was a social worker, and it seems that she has continued that line of work in the next world. I'm told she counsels people who are having trouble adjusting to the afterlife. Clark was one of her clients, and after seeing her professionally for some time, he asked her out, and the two have been a couple ever since. And that's a really nice story. The other day we received a call to our 8183 My Dream hotline by a lady listener who wanted to know what her favorite actor Heath Ledger is up to in the next world. According to my sources, the very talented Mr. Ledger has gone from playing the Joker to being a player. Heath has developed a passion for the game Scrabble. I'm told he plays it just about every day and even entered an Afterlife Scrabble tournament recently. He told friends he was determined to win the championship. When the dust settled, however, he fell a little short, coming in 10th out of a field of thousands of competitors. That's pretty good for a first attempt, but Heath has vowed to come back for the next tourney and go all the way. Short-lived showbiz marriages have been a source of jokes for years. One of the shortest was the marriage between Ernest Borgnine and Ethel Merman. It lasted a total of 32 days, remarkably brief even by Hollywood standards. After less than 5 weeks of wedded non-bliss, Ethel filed for divorce on the grounds of cruelty. Now, given their rocky history on the earthly plane, you can imagine the surprise friends of the two felt when they heard that Ernest and Ethel are going to star in an afterlife production of Neil Simon's The Odd Couple. Now, on the earthly plane, there have been all-black productions of the play as well as all-female casts, but to my knowledge, there has never been a mixed-gender version. A source who spoke to Mr. Borgnine tells me he says he's willing to put aside his past with Ms. Merman because he thinks the unlikely casting will make a good show. Now, although I haven't received direct word about this yet, it would seem that Ethel agrees. Lastly, just before I recorded this Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast, I received word that both Mickey Rooney and comedian John Pinette had arrived in the next world. You remember Pinette from the final episode of Seinfeld, which he played a man who got mugged? And I'm told that Rooney and Pinette's arrivals were simultaneous. According to eyewitnesses, Pinette was excited to meet the legendary Rooney. Rooney was gracious, but apparently hadn't heard of the comedian prior to their meeting. Before they parted company to begin their new existences, though, they promised to keep in touch with each other. And we're going to keep an eye on these two to see what, if anything, develops from this new friendship. That will do it for this week's Celebrity Afterlife Report. I am the celebrity medium. Please check back next week for another roundup of the best celebrity gossip from the next world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.